In Marx's writing does Marx talk about rich people being evil or
This guy obviously didn't do the reading, but I did. All 3 volumes. And I didn't just stop with Capital, I also read more Marx, I also read Lenin, I also read Mao, and I've also read Parenti. But this isn't a literacy measuring contest. This is me discussing the issues with National Bolshevism. Because National Bolshevism, for those who don't understand, it's the same thing as patriotic socialism. These are the kind of dingbats who will say that the United States is already a socialist nation because we have libraries, police departments, and firefighters. This is the ideology that on the surface says that once there is a national service, then that makes the entire nation socialist. This is the same logic that says if you get a scar, then your entire body is scar tissue. Or that once you have a single cancer cell, then your entire body is a tumor. National Bolsheviks and Pat Socks, which I'm just going to refer to them both as Nazbols because they're functionally the same thing. Nazbols are nothing more than a recurring right-wing reactionary tendency. They serve the bourgeois in one purpose. Their job for the bourgeois is to prevent people from learning about socialism by obfuscating what socialism is by trying to compare it to right-wing ideology. They are why so many people believe in that bullshit horseshoe theory. It's the same idea as to why the Nazi Party referred to themselves as National Socialist Workers. Even Hitler agreed that they were not socialist. They were only using it as marketing. Much in the same way that a lot of MAGA communists also try to use false populism. It kind of reminds me of this great Doctor Who quote I used to love. The very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. Instead of changing their views to fit the facts, they change their facts to fit the views. Which is very uncomfortable if you're a fact that needs changing. But sure, you didn't come here to actually look at quotes from Doctor Who. You came here to look at quotes from Marx, right? Now, I can tell you didn't read the theory, but let's actually examine this one and read between the lines and see the context. There must be something rotten in the very core of a social system which increases its wealth without diminishing its misery. Now, the context isn't really hidden here. He's talking about the capitalist system. The same capitalist system which only functions to service the bourgeois, the capitalist, the rich person. Or there's this one, political power, properly so called, is merely the organized power of one class oppressing the other. I don't think oppression is very nice. I'd argue it's bad. But of course, also you're saying that he didn't say that money was evil. But really, you have to remember that money is a symbol. Money is not an object, and nowadays it actually has less of a value than it did back in the time of Marx. And I'm not talking about anything like inflation. I'm talking about the fact that it's not backed by a tangible object. Because on the international scale, the majority of currencies are valued based off of the US dollar, which itself is just valued off of ass gas. The true evil of money comes from the fact that when there are many human needs that can't be met by many people because they don't have prerequisite money, then the money functionally acts not as an exchange tool. The money changes its position in society. The money ceases its function as an agent of commerce. The money becomes the only purpose that you work, as opposed to bettering yourself. Why many people, myself included, had to give up on some dreams just so they can get more money to survive. When I was at my old job and I used to complain about how much I was paid to my parents, my mom would be like, yeah, but you're a microbiologist. Being the microbiologist isn't what pays for rent. Being the microbiologist is what gives me the money that is used to pay the rent. And the thing is, for far too long, those with the power of finance have wielded this power of finance against the masses. And the masses are fucking tired of it. Because we're human beings. not numbers on a fucking spreadsheet. And it's also why an ideal communism would be a stateless, classless, and moneyless society. It would be the end of the class warfare between the bourgeois and the proletariat. But to ever have a hope of humanity reaching that, we must educate, agitate, and organize. And more importantly, we must have solidarity. And also, it's important to recognize and root out fascist tendencies within the movement.